Hi and welcome to my channel. I am Maria Kefalogianni. I am a presence-centered psychotherapist, a supervisor, trainer, an accidental mystic of life, a poet, a writer in studies of consciousness, and all sorts of roles. And I have worked really hard and I have undergone my own deep journey of the dark night of the soul. I've known burnout. I'm neurodivergent, mother of 3. And I want to come in to say a couple of things about mothering. Okay, so when I began my journey back in 2007, which is when I came to England from the beautiful, gorgeous island of Crete, I left in 3 days. And part of my story is that I said to an ex-boyfriend at the time, I need to move abroad to discover myself. And little did I know what that would have meant for my life and my trajectory. And fast forward in time, I became a mother of 3, as I said. And no matter how much training I have undertaken, and I have done a lot and countless hours as a thirsty learner of life in the world of psychotherapy, alongside practicing spiritual self-inquiry, asking the very question, who am I? Nothing prepared me, nothing broken me deeper or wider or vaster into deep dimensions of my own ground of being than being a mother. And I have a lot of stories around my journey of motherhood, but I want to come in and talk about mothering as a philosophy of ontology, an invitation for an ontological sense. What I mean by that is a portal to ask ourselves the question, what does actually mothering mean in all its spectrum and sense? Not only as a conditioned social role or limited to a neurobiological function. And I've written a blog in my Substack about the need to mother in our world. And I have put M with a hyphen, because what we have been conditioned to do is to other. When we look at somebody and we see them as an other, these are the moments we forget to mother. We forget the depth of the undivided heart that resides just here in this body. And so a lot of my work is drawing metaphors, analogy, and poetic inquiry from my role as a mother and what I have felt in my body, the rupture and rebirth of what it takes to raise another human being, and all the shadows I am being brought up for me to look in and find gold inside of them. And as mothers, we have been conditioned to be the perfect mother, the mother who sacrifices herself to her children. And I come from a lineage of women who've done that. And that is one of the biggest gifts that I have inherited as an ancestral gift, which are the gifts of our matrilineal and patrilineal lines that we can cultivate when we meet the burdens that we have also inherited, the trauma, the wounds. And so my soul didn't want to stay caged in that persona. In Carl Jung talked the perfect mother archetype. And motherhood broke that for me because of neurodivergent, because of exhaustion, because of systemic factors of raising 3 kids abroad as an immigrant without any family support, and having to keep breaking the conditioned mindset that I am here to deliver my children on my own. Where the heck is the village for this? And how do we create that? First, we must discover the village within our own hearts. And in that village, we home back to life and wholeness all the exiled parts of us, the thirsty part of us, the starved part of us, that when we enter the rite of passage of being a mother, we very quickly lose our center and ourselves. We keep giving and abandoning the center, which is what I call the undercurrent of our reality. What lies beneath the usual ordinary reality, what the overculture says, this is what you do and this is what you're here to do. When our souls remain starved from that food. And this is my home. This is my favorite place to be, that liminal. And if I could stay there forever, I would. But Grace has gifted me 3 children for a reason, to ground that wisdom that I have gathered into my daily life, and to create a map. And the map that has been gifted in my journey, and I keep saying I'll be talking more about it, is the Ancient Mother Spiral. And you can have a read on my website to see how that you can allow that to hold you. And the map talks about the spirals, the cycles that we keep returning again and again. And in every return, we refine the edges of this centralist center. The unruined heart, as Clarissa Pinkola Estes, a great teacher and elder of wisdom for me, says. The groundless ground. And we'll be needing to cultivate and harness that in the times to come. Collectively speaking, I'm really sad and very aware of my body and feeling through the collective stage of, in alchemical terms, nigredo we're entering. There's a collapse of the old. And we're being fiercely invited to rise up, but not up, chasing the skies and the transcendental and the rising and the even the notion of a calm nervous system and a regulated nervous system is collapsed in my world. That can also become very quickly a colonial mindset, because it basically communicates that our rage for what happens in the world, our sense of injustice, our instinctive primordial roar is not welcome, that we must somehow mold and shape ourselves into linear maps of definition of what a well-being means. I am a trained psychotherapist, and let me tell you, it was also a mold for me where I hid my true aliveness and life force. And it's a mold that I have burst open from, but I have distilled the wisdom that is gifted me throughout time. I'm really passionate about this, you can tell. Because as a mother, we go through these spirals multiple times in the day. In these descent spirals in my body of work, I call that the descent into the dark goddess, which is a necessary ingredient. And the surrendering to that descent, not through submission and resignation, but through a continuous composting and alchemizing the grief and the rage that even doesn't belong to us, that's systemic, that's eternal, that's collective, that's ancestral. We've got to do this work now. We cannot escape anymore ourselves. The pills that this system has given us, not working anymore. The coping strategies you might feel yourself, you recognize that you've built for yourself, start cracking. And that is not a regression, but a fierce invitation back to your own emergence of your own soul. So mothering for me is a wholesome love that leaves out nothing. But it's an ontology, it's a philosophy, it's a spiral, it's a body of work that's inviting you as a mother to know moment to moment when to discern, to gift your time for your children, and when to carve the time for you. My biggest wound has been that of abandonment. And as a neurodivergent individual, I'm so accustomed to know this wound extremely intimately and well, of how quickly I can leave myself. And leaving ourselves, because, we could be doing all the right things on the external, going to the gym, but still abandoning ourselves. It's very subtle. It gets more and more refined the deeper we cultivate our awareness and our embodied truth of our own aliveness. And another aspect of the mothering as ontology, and especially in our mothering roles that I'm passionate about, is the notion of our erotic aliveness. Now, this is not often talked about as another part of our soul that we're here to reclaim as mothers, because when you have babies sucking your boobies, your body becomes that vessel of sacrifice, which it should. And there comes a point where your own aliveness starts knocking back on your door, and you start feeling resentment and bitterness and rage and grief, and as if your soul has been buried, because it has. So it is time to reclaim our soul, because it is the soul that will carve the path forward for you becoming yet another holy vessel, as Joanna Macy, who is a teacher and a beautiful companion in the liminal, the spirit world. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about mothering as an ontology, and this is something that I'm developing, and I'm welcoming your thoughts, and if you resonate, your experiences. I am running a circle, and I will be running more, and I'll put the link below for you to express any interest if you ever wanted to be part of a circle. I'd love to have you there. That was a bit of longer video than expected, but I hope it offered something. It ignited something in you, and maybe it stirred some waters that needed to be stirred, perhaps. I will welcome your thoughts if you have any. Thank you for your time.